Twitter superstar Denny Hamlin wins the race, a new pit stop record, and 7 races, 7 different winners. All that and more coming up next. What's going on, everybody? If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully today is the day that I will earn that subscription. All right, 7 races, 7 different winners, and this time the winner is over 30 years of age. 40-year-old Denny Hamlin wins the race and rings one up for the old guys. He joins the list of 7 different winners who include Alex Bowman, Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, Chase Briscoe, Austin Cindric, Alex Bowman, and I think that's it, maybe, yeah. And William Byron. William Byron is the other one, that's right. So, 7 races, 7 different winners. So, all these guys are locked in as of now, but it's not necessarily guaranteed because if more than 16 people win, of course, they will not be locked in. One of these guys could possibly be bumped out, so you still have to look at points. And I say that because even with the win, Denny Hamlin is only 20th in points right now, and Austin Cindric is in trouble too. He's 15th in points. Should several more winners come into play, but that's something for way on down the line. Today, let's talk about how Denny Hamlin won this race. It was a race sort of filled with strategy. Now, Hamlin certainly had a fast car. The JGR cars were all fast today. They all showed speed. But that's not necessarily what won him the race because there were several different cars that were fast at various different points in the race. You actually, because of the way this thing played out, you never knew who actually had the fastest car. Of course, Ryan Blaney led the first 126 laps, I think. So he looked really good at the start of things. But then when he got back in traffic, his car seemed to be less dominant. The second stage went to Martin Truex. Martin Truex's car looked good all day, but at the end of the day, it was Denny Hamlin with a pit strategy. He pitted with 46 laps to go. He went a lap down, but with 3 laps to go in the race, he makes the pass for the lead. So there was a lot of drama to this. There was a lot of strategy. There was just a whole lot going on. You actually never got a good feel for what was going on until the very end, but still a really great race. The finish was amazing. Not the finish we've been accustomed to the last few races where it's been a caution and a restart for an exciting finish, but this was the same type of exciting finish where the pass came in the last 3 laps. We just got there a different way. Let's talk about Kyle Busch for a minute, and let's talk about him for a few reasons. Kyle Busch and his team set the pit stop record with a 9-second pit stop today. It is the fastest pit stop in NASCAR history, and they did so with a new technique where all the guys go over the wall at one time. They had been waiting for, some of the other guys had been waiting for the car to pit, and then they went around the car, got in the way of the gas man. Well, Gibbs, JGR, came up with a new way of pitting where when you pull in, all the guys are already over the wall and they're in front of the car, and then they run back to service the car and they don't get in the way of the gas man, so you actually get an extra gallon of gas in, which, as the announcers so rightly said, will come into play. Chad Knaus was on point today, by the way. Great to have him in the booth. I hope he does more. But like that extra gallon of gas is going to come into play at some of these other tracks where you can play some more fuel mileage strategy. But that 9-second pit stop was not the only story from Kyle Busch's pit crew today, because on one of the pit stops, they put an extra piece of tape onto the grill, and you can't put it on the actual grill. You can put it on the brake ducts and cover the brake ducts, but they put it on the actual grill that cools the car, and that is not allowed. Now, they ran around the track for 200 laps like this, and NASCAR didn't catch it for 200 laps, which means another team probably most likely told on them. But also, if they knew that tape was on the front of the grill, why didn't they take it off before that 200 laps? So it's actually a failure in 3 different ways. One way is you put the tape on the wrong part of the grill, so the team messed up there. The second way the team messed up is if they knew the tape was on the grill in the wrong spot, at some point they should have ripped it off, and they probably could have avoided that penalty. And thirdly, it is on NASCAR that they let them run for 200 laps, basically illegally according to NASCAR's rules, before they penalized them. And when they penalized him, he almost didn't have enough time to make up for it. But luckily, the way the pit stops cycled and all that, he was able to come in there and get a top 10. All right, now let's take a look at that top 10. Obviously, Denny Hamlin with the win, locking himself into the playoffs. Kevin Harvick finished second, and he is another guy who needed a good run. That bumps him up in points quite a bit. Obviously, he needs a win too because he hasn't won in a while. William Byron finishes third. Good points finish for him. Of course, he's already got a win, so he is pretty much in the playoffs either way. Martin Truex finishes fourth. Valiant effort from Martin Truex. Looked like he was going to win the race at various points toward the end there, but ends up with fourth place. A nice finish and a nice run for Toyota as well. They had 4 cars in the top 10. Kyle Larson finishes fifth. Not anything to write home about today, but he does come home with a 5th place finish with some good pit strategy. Christopher Bell, after a horrendous start, now has 2 top 10s back to back. Christopher Bell finishes 6th. Like I said a minute ago, Toyota having a good race here. Ryan Blaney, after leading all those laps, ends up with a 7th place finish. Alex Bowman is 8th. Kyle Busch recovers to a 9th place finish after the controversial tape on the grill incident already mentioned. And Austin Dillon showed up out of nowhere once again for a top 10. All right, that was who had a good race. Now let's get on to who had a bad race. 23-11, Kurt Busch never even got going today. He finished this race 109 laps down. They had a fuel pickup issue. Not sure if it was a fuel pump or anything else, but obviously he could not contend for the win today, and his teammate didn't fare much better. Bubba Wallace finishes 26th, so only 9 positions better than the guy who basically was the first person out of the race, even though, you know, he came back out of the garage and ran some more laps, but was not a good day for 23-11. Colleague also had a pretty terrible day. They finished well outside of the top 10, 27th and 29th actually. 27th for AJ Allmendinger, 29th for Justin Haley. So after being strong all season, Colleague was definitely just off today. All right, that is all I've got for you. One more thing before I sign off. I was working at Ace Speedway, and I actually had a guy come up and recognize me from the show. That is like the first time that has ever happened. And I was on my phone, looking like a typical, somebody who wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone actually answering questions to the channel when he came up, and it surprised me that anybody knew me. Like I wasn't expecting any of this, so I didn't know what to say to him. So, sir, I just want to say thank you for coming up and speaking. I know I had my head in my phone, and I didn't. I hope I didn't come off as anything like rude or anything like that. But you definitely made my day, is what I wanted to say. That made my day, and I was so shocked. I just didn't know what to say or what to do. That was really cool. And so thank you for coming up and speaking. It was really cool. And if any of you guys see me, just don't be scared. Feel free to come up and speak. Ask me anything you want to ask me. That's cool. Just a really cool moment. So yeah, that's all I've got for you. If you like the content, feel free to subscribe down below. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.